Hi there, Agile friends. Get ready for the World Tour of Agile at the Agile Online Summit 2023. You can join us from October 24th to 26th for a global showcase of cutting-edge Agile practices and insights. Join us at agileonlinesummit.com. This year, we will be featuring some of the best work done around the world and world-class keynotes. You can check all of that at agileonlinesummit.com. But the best part is that your ticket is on us. That's right, it's free to attend and immerse yourself in the world of Agile excellence. Don't miss out on this opportunity to level up your skills and network with peers and industry experts. Mark your calendars and secure your spot at AOS 23 today by visiting agileonlinesummit.com. So get your free ticket or opt for the full digital pass that lets you keep all the conference videos forever and organize, why not, Agile learning sessions at work. You can get the full digital access at agileonlinesummit.com. I'll see you in the conference floor. Hello everybody, welcome to our Wednesday Leading Change episode this week with Konstantin Riebel. Hey Konstantin, welcome back.
Hi Vasco, nice thank you for having me.
Absolutely, it's a pleasure to have you. Of course today is change episode. On Monday we already talked about a big change, but I don't know if that's the same we are going to talk about now, but do tell us a story of a change process that you were involved with and walk us through the steps, like from beginning to end. How did it start? What happened over time? And as you go through those steps, highlight for us the tips, the tools, the tricks, and the techniques you learned back then that you still apply today.
Mm-hmm. Yes, so let's stick with the BMW case. I might jump to another case at some point to give some more learnings, but let's stick with the BMW case for now. So I described already how the change started with BMW, right? So a lot of restructuring was happening. People were distributed in the in Munich and also outside of Munich in different locations, and that was like one reason the management already saw a need to change. But they were already convinced, management was also already convinced that they needed a real change, because they saw that if they continue to do, especially this complex product of autonomous driving, if they continue to do the same way as before, it will be a guaranteed fail. So there was a motivation to change from that side, but it was not so really clear in which direction to change. And this is where, after my first LeSS practitioner course with Craig, I had a conversation with my manager back then, and we disagreed. And just a half a year later, he asked me to give all the tasks that I had, all the responsibilities to someone, or he proposed to me if I would be willing to do that, to give all my responsibilities, all the tasks away to someone else, and focus only on that change. And this is exactly what I did then. I said, yes, I would really like to do that. And I started to work with the management, with other people, special matter experts and so on what kind of change do we need to go towards. And what I was rather slow challenging bits and pieces and proposing bits and pieces. And then Craig was on site one day, and I asked my manager to meet him, and they had a 20 minutes discussion. And this ended up in a in a higher interest for LeSS. And then my managers, the executive vice president of autonomous driving, and all his direct reports they asked me to organize something that they can learn more about LeSS. And this was a one-day workshop together with Mark Brigenter, and we had this workshop, and this was the biggest kickoff for the change, because that is where they realized, okay, we need to do more of this system thinking with causal loop diagrams, understand much better what we need, what we want to optimize for, and so on. So this is where this really the momentum got really high. And so here we can see in the story there was a motivation already, but the direction was not clear. So, and we clarified through a lot of working, we clarified the direction of this change. We had two teams. One was the management team, and the other one was the non-management team. And we basically worked full-time for about 4 months. We worked full-time together on the change.
And that means both teams working together.
Yes.
Separate,
yes.
but also together.
Yeah, in one room.
Okay.
We worked in one room.
And when you say we had to clarify the direction of the change, I mean,
yeah.
As I heard, part of that was choosing kind of the organizing model. You went with LeSS, the LeSS framework. I'll put the link on the show notes. But what other aspects constituted that, what you call direction of the change?
It had to be a real change. It could not have been something that the organizational structure remains the same and we just rename things. That was out of the question. So back then, at that time, the CTO and the executive vice president, the CTO of BMW and the executive vice president of autonomous driving, both motivated all their direct reports to think further beyond the limits that they currently think in terms of change. And this was one main driver for the fact that we needed that they wanted a real change, also in the organizational structure, not just renaming things.
So I can see like two key aspects here. First, select a framework that helps organize the work, and that framework is based on systems thinking. And then once that was clear, to think about, okay, but what does that mean for us as an organization? What does it mean for the teams? What does it mean for management? How did you, these two teams, you said there was a management team and a team
non-management team,
of non-managers that were thinking through this change. How did it work? How did you guys come to an actual direction in more detail of where the organization should go?
So before those two teams came together, before they existed, there was a big consulting company engaged, which analyzed, did a lot of interviews with managers, and then they created a proposal how BMW should change, or autonomous driving should change. So they delivered basically all their insights in form of a PowerPoint presentation with a proposed structure and process model for that. And we took that as the base, and we discussed every week how that would work in reality. And every week we descaled their proposal. We removed things from it to make it simpler, more lightweight, lighter. And at some point, we asked ourselves, well, we removed already so much. How about we just take the LeSS structure and the LeSS flow, and then we ask ourselves if everything that we need to do would be possible with that. And we started to create use cases. I think we ended up with around about 80 use cases for all kinds of different things. the different problems and so on. And we found out that, we couldn't find a use case which we couldn't do in a structure that LeSS proposes. We just couldn't. And that was the goal for us to go. That was the sign for us to continue. At that time, it was one of the success factors was that really we worked on this cross hierarchy. From the hands-on developer to the executive vice president, we worked together on the change. So you got all the perspectives. So when those two teams themselves, those two teams came to the conclusion that it is possible to do everything we need with LeSS, then we started to invite other people who were not part of the discussions. And we asked them to challenge. And they challenged us. We presented them the use cases. We discussed all of that, all their
questions,
their questions, yes, their challenges, and then we came up with the same answer. It's possible. And then every person, every individual whom we invited to discuss about this, we got buy-in from them. And this is then how it evolved until we started the real change then.
The actual change. That's actually a great point, right? Like you invite people to actively challenge, not to convince, but to challenge. And
yes.
Through that, you get immediate feedback as the change team, but also you're giving the opportunity to these people to come to the same conclusion. And if they wouldn't, then that would be important information for you as the change team to be able to adapt the approach you wanted to take into use. That's a great story of building buy-in. Thank you for sharing that, Konstantin.
And that's the I'm not done. That's the if I may, that's the part of BMW when changing. But then when I do trainings today, and people ask me, yes, but it's so hard to convince our management to do this and this and this and that. And do you have any ideas what we could do? Well, first thing I learned from Craig, and I give this further: think and act like a politician, not like an engineer. That's number one. And number two is managers are not evil. They are people with a good will. They just have the information and they act on the information which is available to them. And my next proposal is find problems in your organization that make product delivery and development really hard. Make those problems transparent and make those problems the problems of those managers. And then use those problems together and work on a solution together with the managers, and use this situation as a vehicle for providing a good direction in the change that you're planning. Don't come to a manager and say, hey, let's implement this framework. That will be a slap back in their face. Find a problem and use this problem as a vehicle for change.
Absolutely. Don't implement this framework. Just help people solve the problems they are already facing.
Yes.
That's a great wrap up. Thank you, Konstantin.
Thank you.
Leading change is one of the core skills we must acquire, but it is only one of the steps towards our success as Scrum Masters. Tomorrow, on Success Thursday, we will talk about how to define success for the Scrum Master role. We'll cover tips on how to measure your way to that position, and most importantly, how to develop that focus on continuous improvement that is as important for Scrum Masters as it is for teams. See you tomorrow. We really hope you liked our show. And if you did, why not rate this podcast on Stitcher or iTunes? Share this podcast and let other Scrum Masters know about this valuable resource for their work. Remember that sharing is caring.